DC, thank you so much. You already know how I feel about you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our mother. You know, you are an inspiration and you are our strength. When we lack a place to go and bounce back, we always come for you for emotional support. You always understand everybody in the organization. You have a way to strengthen us, and I thank you so much. PS, thank you for the introduction. And also, I want to thank our chairman of our missions, Mr. Naka. I thank you for allowing me also and for chairing the Zoom. And for all the participants, I think the president of the governing council, Idan, also can talk. I will try to follow up, and we also try for reach for with some meeting for some of our soldiers them, where then they also for inside Menchum. Every day we get moving parts. Every day we get moving parts. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all. I see Pado, Ide for day. I see plenty faces them. It be very happy. My heart be very glad every time we would come together as a family. Now a very very big challenge for a people for come together, for be summoned by a call for duty, for come together from different corners of the war, for unite as one family, for fight for make sure semi changes and be for place where they come out for Ambazonia. For our people them for ground zero, it can be a very tough thing for them for coordinate themselves, for gather themselves throughout as we grow up. We see the SCNC people, them had they be this trouble. Molanjo Litumbe. When I saw him, some person will choose this time to call me. So we see Molanjo Litumbe, they be the worker, they try to preach and for educate our people then. And they be face a lot of propaganda. We will not be the understand what to be even be propaganda. They talk say the one as some part and they promise all man say you can be minister, they promise this one for so and so people, so and so many people then. And we'll be to consume those things without knowing. We'll be to celebrate 11th February, 20th May, and out of a sudden we don't see a need where it don't arise for our country for stand up as Manchu BBC be stand up, as a constituent be stand up, as I have a show be the talk from the beginning. Say we go need for fight war without any blinking. It was telling we have to fight, and we don't answer the call. It'd be a very, very challenging thing to trust people because you are dealing with human life on the ground. Young boys and men that you do not really know. Meet people like PS, Mama Wali, Woman of God, all these great people that I never knew that they exist. But out of a sudden, we start to reconnect, and we have found ourselves in this organization called the Ambazonia Governing Council, an organization that is founded on principles that have been tested, on people that are patriots, who have given their all. They have laid down their life to build this foundation so that things can happen. What you see on the ground of soldiers fighting with guns, running on the street, soldiers answering our call. I remember I cried a lot on social media. I'm one of the highest crying activists who have cried a lot because when I was seeing the brutalization of our children in Boya in particular, that is what changed, that really changed, transformed me. When I saw the Cameroon military, they went inside there with a military command, gendarmerie, the legion commander of the gendarmerie, a coordinated attack on a student quarter. You're not even talking about students who were protesting. It just shattered me so much, and I said I must say something. There's no way I will not say something. And then they went to Bambili and did the same thing. Children were not even thinking in Bambili to protest. As a matter of fact, if you said that the children in Bambili should protest at that moment, people will slap you. And these guys just came with cannons, blaster it with on student quarter, and there was a girl who, her eye was so swollen. I called some students there because I grew up in Bamenda. I used to chop life and go to student parties there, so I have connection. I saw this girl, her face was swollen, sleeping on her bed. She had on the door. She opened the door, it was water cannon on her face swollen like that. And I said, we have to do something. We were crying, and I met the ADF. And I come to learn about their story from Sheikh Avi, somebody that I grew up seeing him going to visit Binglo Tiger. And these guys, they were having these dreams of building the forces. So today, I'm coming today to represent those same people, that same organization that have gone on the ground and set up camps, train soldiers with nothing in their hands. I've listened to their stories, how they build the ADF from scratch, how they select guys like you see by the commander in the Buffaloes today. You see many other commanders, Commander Trouble, many other people that have become pioneer of this fighting that you see on the ground. They decided to go down there, train them out of their own pocket. And we are coming today to ask for you funds, not to fund an idea that we have conceived, but to fund something that is ongoing. We are not asking you to give us money and we have a big plan. We are going to take you to Boya. If you give us money, we are going to do this. If you give us money, we are doing something on the ground already. You may not believe it or not, things don't happen randomly on the ground. It's because people have looked for solution. People have indoctrinated young men, give them a purpose. People who have lost their way, give them a purpose. People who have been transformed, giving them a purpose. I've seen young men in the ADF who would never make 500,000 in their life raise money on the ground and come with it to the organization, and the organization add money. They will carry millions to the black market to buy weapons and they will not run away with it. I mean, you have dedicated people that are there ready to fight for our nation and are fighting for our nation without asking money for food. ADF is not an organization where you hear soldier will call you and say, give you money for chop, give you money for chop. They go and eat sugar cane, eat gari. They fight with changshu before we could give them boots. They fight without body armor protection before we could make sure that we can even develop local ones and make sure we get some for the black market for them. Before they could harvest, General Ba Avo went for battle with his knife and came back with 2 AK. We are not asking you to give us something that we are not doing. We are telling you that we are doing something. And if you do not support us, we are going to do it and we are willing to die doing it or we succeed. For the Ambazonia Defense Forces, Ambazonia Governing Council, we don't have a choice. We don't have a plan B. We are fighting to liberate Ambazonia. We have tested a lot of plans to solve problems and we have solved them. When they introduced the armored car on the ground, we saw it as a challenge. And we sit on the table, we bring experts, we consult with foreign experts in other battlefields, I mean ongoing battlefields in other places in Africa. We send our own officials to displace themselves and go to the battlefield in other African places and learn and say, how can you take away this armored car? And they brought the technology on the ground and they applied it. Today, after 4 years of fighting Cameroon military, the War Council have received command from the governing council that we want you guys to demonstrate this capability on the ground. We send our intelligence, pick a target, put it on paper, give it to our command structure with our leader, General Efang, on the ground. They study it and they say that, okay, we can do this. The War Council came up with a name, Operation Hammer Blow. We deployed forces from across the globe to form a specialized unit that have trained. Our soldiers are not just random people that we go and meet on social media and pay them money, or we go and meet somebody who have been fighting for somebody and we pay them money. We pick commanders, bring them into a unit, deploy them into Bamenda. Unfortunately, you have seen the picture of one of them who is dead, General Commander Tokandu. We bring them into a unit, deploy them, and we watch them live. The president and the War Council, our members, we watched the operation, we monitored the operation, we stayed up for 2 days, prepared everything, blocked roads in Bamenda, and fought the Cameroon military in their barracks for 3 good hours. They could not penetrate us. We had to call another unit to give us backup, which was not in the plan, the unit of tanker, and they acted swiftly. They provided backup. We have the capability. We have demonstrated the capability to develop IED. Now we have developed the vaporizer. These things do not just happen by magic. We have the roadmap. We have the liberation leader that has given us the inspiration, that is sleepless. He's working tirelessly. We are working tirelessly. We are not just on social media anymore. It's actually difficult for me to come on social media. I look for time to do my podcast. I look for time to come and report for you, but it is very important that we engage our public and we show them what we are doing, not just telling them. This is the capability we have. Today, we can sit in the War Council and send soldiers to Boya, and you are sure that you have dedicated members that can pick up guns and get into Boya to fight, to give our people the freedom that they are looking for. These are the guys that have come today to ask for you to support us. This support is critical. Not for this month. We are ready for this month. We are ready for this December. But for the subsequent months that are coming. 2022, we have not just sit and wait for it to come. We have been planning for it for a long time. We have been planning for it for a long time. And we need the money. We need to deploy the vaporizer technology that we have developed.
Power off.
It has been tested on the battlefield. You have seen the success of the battlefield. Our ability to perform raid on their location have sent shivers down their spine. We are enforcing a curfew now in Bengui Road. The Cameroon military have been crippled. I mean, they had a battalion that have been cut off, that have stayed in Bali for close to 2 weeks. They have no way to extract them. That is the capability we have. We will beat Cameroon on the field. We will defeat Cameroon. We have the soldiers, we have the expertise, we have the trainers. From this year, 2022, we'll be moving in a stage where you will see a new breed, I mean a complete new breed of Ambazonian fighters that is being developed with this our campaign of 1,000 new Amba forces. It's not propaganda, it's not cliche. You have a complete breed of Ambazonian fighters that are being trained, that have no connections with the old fighters. A new breed of soldiers that are being we are transferring the technology, transferring the know-how, and there are men who have been tested in the ways that we do our own things, and they are ready for you. We need the materials. We have marched Cameroon now, gun to gun. When you look at our military, the way they dress on the ground, you see our AKs, our M16. We are the same. There is no difference between Ambazonian Defense Forces and the B. We can match them gun to gun. The only difference is maybe they have more bullets than us, but we have used other ways to make sure that we can pair with them in terms of our tactics. We have had time to train. We have had time to seize territory and hold our headquarters. You have seen us building that stadium. The stadium you see our forces marching on our national day in Bui, in our headquarters where we don't want to call them because it's a revolving thing. Those stadiums were built by us. You have seen us building hospitals. You have seen hospitals that have been destroyed that we built. We did not come and tell you to give us money to build hospitals. We did not come to tell you to give us money to hire and train doctors and first aid members. We did that and you saw it on the field. So you can trust the ADF for our liberation struggle. We need you to dig deep in your pocket, because with all this plan, the only thing that limits us is two things: money and time. You can see Cameroon military, they know the bases that we have, they know the places that Ambazonian fighters are. But it is difficult for them to arrange themselves and come and attack us. It's very challenging for them. Then imagine us, the Ambazonians, with our capability that is developing, when we have to go and attack them. It is not just random. Of course, we have make sure that our periphery forces, the sister forces, they have the capability to take advantage of opportunity that presents itself to interrupt their flow of traffic. But we have to take our time to prepare for assault and hit them like we did in Bamenda, like we did in Ibonji, like we are doing now in Loambo and other areas in the Atlantic state. And we face tremendous challenges in terms of propaganda. La République du Cameroon, they have a big machine of anti-Ambazonian Defense Forces propaganda. They are willing to go to an extent of not giving their soldiers a befitting barrier, if that is what it takes to deceive the Ambazonian people that the ADF do not exist. For a while, in the beginning of the last month, I think it's November, the Cameroon military specifically avoided to increase its traffic along areas that the ADF was controlling. We're moving into Lebialem and in Manu, moving out of Beme. The Cameroon military was avoiding fight. After you have the images that you saw that came from No Pity, and Amazonian people in social media were demanding that ADF, we want our Akamanso to get into action. We were moving to areas to fight Cameroon military and they were running away. Because the last thing the Cameroon military wanted was to see ADF fighting their forces on the ground. Can you imagine a government running away from fight? They were willing to abandon some of their forces to avoid confrontation with the ADF. Because our people, the mindset of our people is that one that even question our ability to act, that questions our ability, our own ingenuity to build a force. And they know that communication can handicap the ADF for whatever we have to do. You have seen us using the chain cutters in the Bamenda, in the operation in Bamenda. There are videos that we don't really want to show you, even though you really want to see them, because we don't want them to really understand our modus operandi. But it's very important and it's very critical that you give us your heart, that you trust our leadership, you trust our personnel, you trust our coordination on the ground. We have one of the most finest young men that are fighting under this our banner for our country. You have the leadership of General Efang. That is not just a leadership of a person, but it is an office that is well capable and fit not only to fight, but also to even replace itself. Be sure today that if me, Capo Daniel, I fall, the Ambazonian Governing Council have a plan to replace me. They have a plan to replace Lucas. They have a plan to replace even the CIC. They have a plan to replace everybody. I mean, there is nobody that is not replaceable. We have a plan B, but we don't have a plan B for our independence. So you can be sure that you are supporting an institution that is well planned, well built to liberate you. The Ambazonian Governing Council is the only chance Ambazonia have throughout its history. I've been talking with members of the mobile wing, some of the surviving members who are old people who call me to advise and they call to talk about what we are doing. They believe in us. You saw Molanjo Litumbe when he met Ayabacho in Washington, what he says to him: liberate our people. He is one of a time leader that we have. Our forces are one of a time leaders that we have. Please, please equip us with what we need from you. We need only two things. We need your money for our liberation. We need your support and your trust. Do not allow yourself to be manipulated by Cameroon propaganda. It hurts me when Ambazonians will pick up their phone and tell me, Capo Daniel, we want to see ADF on the field, because if you don't see them for 1 week, it means that they don't fight. We can do whatever we are doing, and it will take Cameroon just small propaganda. And the people that will help them will not be Cameroon propagandists. It will not be Konda titles. It will be our friends, our brother that you know in the IG, who are patriots, by the way. In the IG, the Splinter and the original IG. They will be sharing those informations because somehow it pleases some people that we are not effective or that we don't take the lead. It pleases some people that I don't speak too much. Some people come and say, Capo Daniel, why are you making podcasts every day?